There's a city within her. Mm, yeah, one of the angels found it there. It was when he found it, the piece of him that found it. Uh, there was a billboard that says, "Have you seen this angel?" And it was a picture of her. She hadn't been to the city, if ever, not in a long time, and they were seeking her. They're really, it's expansive. The spirit of one, just one piece of the divine, is so expansive that it can contain worlds, because I will tell you, I and the rest of our unit have been playing inside this realm. Well, her husband, Cecil, there was one of her past lives. Before she went through the remembrances, all she remembered was that girl was crazy. She was crazy. She ended her life. Insane. So she felt sorry for her for not knowing who she was. So one day Cecil just said, well, why don't we give her a garden? And so where he was pulling the stuff from? Inside of her. And so there's where began Hazel's garden. I will tell you, a piece of every one of her past life lives inside that garden. It's Hazel's realm, her last one before this one, but every a piece of every one of her other past lives live inside that garden. They grow, they love. She embraces them, they embrace her, and they all work together to keep them feeling safe. You know, those moments when you have a question about the safety and security of the child within. And my sister has had a lot of those. Angie has had a lot of those. Starting when, well, you would have to say that probably my death was a similar thing, but she doesn't remember it as such. But then, at 19, there was a very formative thing that happened on a mountain that changed her paradigm. And she's had, I would say, 3 big paradigm shifts of the mountain, and then finding out one of her past lives could live inside of her. That was Lyra. And then the last one was this change of a physiology that tonight is not actually about. It's not about the PGAD. It's about the communication. It's about what we found when we searched inside of her, when we wanted to stay close to learn about what it's like to be like her. And she wondered why. Why not is the answer. You can, so why not? And that's always going to be one of the answers. So now I'm going to do something different because I've gone over. I'm just glancing to see if I don't actually see if anybody is on, but there's two viewers, it says. So there is someone here.
Probably these two.
The what? Oh, the 2 things? That thing and that thing? Well, anyway, I am going to pull a...
No, Deborah's sure.
Hello, Deborah! I am going to pull the only tarot at this point that I have with me, because I didn't want to bring a lot, and these are the words that were written through her by angels, poetry that she wanted to write together, things that sort of are descriptive of some of the things that she's seen in the other realms, some of the things she's experienced in the other realms. So let's see, we will... No more need for rainy weather. So that's a good one. Because we were talking about before that, we were talking about like what it was like for my mom. And like her most of all, it's hard because she went through so much, and she was very young when she started having children. And I think it changed the way she looked at her abilities, which was an unfortunate side effect It wasn't something that I didn't leave because I hate my mom. I communicate with her every day. She's the queen of dreams, and she lives in a tower, and we go over and talk all the time. Um, so, but let's see what else they have to say. So, there is no more need for rainy weather. It's really difficult. Like, I think human beings are going through a difficult transition as the new age is coming on and the new way of doing things is coming on because we're leaving Pisces and we're going more into a feminine energy. It feels like that human beings are despairing over the fact that some are wanting to hold very strong to the ways of old, but you can't actually stop the ages from turning. You can't stop the young from taking over from the old. It's what they're there for. Like, they're the survivants of the human race. So they have to start being able to do some of the things that are necessary in the realm of the human, like with like where are we headed politically? What do we want to do for our people? How do we take care of all of our people? And sometimes it gets in the way because people aren't actually knowledgeable of themselves. And if they were, then they would see how they can do. I mean, what steps they can take to make the world a better place. But the only real way to make the world a better place is by doing the steps that you can do to make the world a better place. We have people who go out and do philanthropy, and they're opening all these foundations to help people with new. Every day they're opening foundations for autism and all these other sorts of things that have gotten like pushed to the side because having something rare is like it's really kind of difficult to find out how to deal with something rare, right? So the reason that we need right now the people who care, uh, the reason we need the people who care out there right now, because if they start doing today, getting the money the reason we need the people out there that we talk to get money, we angels, is because if we can get them getting money today, they are the type of people who will put it towards the programs that are needed to help humankind with anywhere from diapers and formula to how do we get a better bus system or train system, or there are a lot of things that human beings can do and are meant to do, but that whole fear is stepping in the way of innovation. Fear is stepping in the way of innovation. So it's very important for us angels if we can get enough people to actually listen and hear the 5D so that we can communicate. Well, where do you think that like new technologies and the inspirations for those come from? From somebody listening to their angel and their unit and aligning properly. And then they find the people who can help carry that out. And I think that America's been a little hard on that because it's just a little bit weird right now. But it'll right itself. That we have no fear of. There's no need to fear. Fear is one of the main factors that are standing in people's way from collapsing time. And just being that you really, really, really are. Like, we're all a variety of personalities. A rainbow, as Angie would like to say. And she loves that rainbow. She absolutely adores that rainbow, and we should. Diversity is what leads to the innovations. Because if you have one pattern of thought, then you will be less likely to step outside of the box of thinking that may be standing in the way of the next big breakthrough through for solar technology or electronic cars or like, but you have to be willing, the old have to be willing to let it go. They really do. They have to be willing to keep changing because that's the thing that the angels, it's the only requirement is that you keep changing and growing as you're supposed to do. So that, your divine spark can do what it set out to do, which is learn and grow stronger in love and in light and in compassion and in understanding. The more compassionate we are, the more understanding we are, the more we grow in love and light. I mean, look at what my sisterhood do. I have never heard a beat of it. I mean, like, we as the angels, when we came in, we expect certain things, but this was expansive in such a way that we never seen someone who created without realizing they were created. And she kept doing it throughout her childhood. It's something that her spirit didn't actually know she was doing that. She thought the place was just there. Like she was born with it. Like the city, the Hazel's Garden, that was just a place of energy that hadn't been formed. That Cecil gave to Hazel to make her whatever forms like she chose to make. And it became a garden, and it's a place that we angels actually travel. It's a very interesting place. A lot of possibilities. And there are spaces that everyone actually has them where they can create their own realm. And Angie did it instinctually. And so we know that, excuse me, we know that there's a 3D way of looking at things. But we know that that can't be all there is, no matter what, like, someone who thinks, I believe in that, I do too, but then there's the string theory, there you go, and the uncertainty principle, and those things are, well, they're necessary, because we don't know why certain things happen. We don't know why when you bust down an atom to its smallest parts, the experimenter, no matter how objective they are, starts becoming part of the experiment, and the thing does whatever the experimenter thinks it should do. And that there's a lot of things that we can learn about, like where magic actually comes from, where miracles come from just realizing that we needed a thing called the uncertainty principle because we didn't know everything. We needed string theory to describe some of the things that they found happening, which, what was the reason for the uncertainty principle. Because they didn't know really what to expect when they started busting down these. They just knew they could, so they did. And I'm glad it didn't get us into more trouble than it has. Because you do. But you should, for the most part, do the things that you can do. Stray Kids said it right. Do whatever you want to do. Guarantee it's the best for you. Just do it. And that's the way we feel like. Courtney, one of a good channel that Angie found. Now she's been channeling angels, not for public consumption, but speaking with us for a long time when she found Courtney. But Courtney, she's a very good channel. And like they keep coming through her and telling people the same thing over and over again. And they're like, I know it sounds like a broken record, but you're still standing in your own way. Because it's very, very hard for the human mind to get out of its own way. Like there's so much many programs in there that say you can't, that give you limitations, that like breaking every one of those. I mean, well, Angie, she's not been a Christian for a very long time. And she thought she had busted every bit of her Christian program. But some of it came up bite her in the ass when her condition came into being, when her physiology changed in 2021 around August. About 5 years ago now. She's been talking to the angels. Not very long after that, I don't know, 3 to 6 months is when but she and I first started talking. And, like, except for in Dream now, that's still occurring because there's a place in Dream World where we communicate. Me, Angie, Dixie, sometimes Anna and Chris. We all still communicate there in the place of Dream that Mom created for us to I guess check in on each other and in the spiritual plans that we had and why we were kind of born at the same time, in the same family, those sorts of things. But let's see what this has to say, because I think now everything that I thought about talking about to you about, I have. So let's see. Left in a place alone. That was kind of me when I was in, especially after she grew older. Except for in Dream, she wouldn't visit me like that because she didn't think about that. She didn't look at that heart temple, as she calls it now, that place inside her heart that she created for Jessica. It was not a real thing to her. It didn't make it disappear when she died. It wasn't like a real concept anymore to her. She was seeking until she actually found him. And yes, I would say there was a form of Jessica and just pure love there. But the being who had been Jessica was not aware of the place that she had inside her very essence for him until we got to talk. So, the time is 8. Well, we still have quite a bit of time. Is there anything you would like to share, Cecil?
Let's see. You never had your questions.
She said, hey.
Yes, she did say that. I kind of had one question.
What's that?
I was just wondering if you would elaborate on what have you explained what your physical condition that you keep alluding to, your physiological change?
Well, I haven't said her physiological change. No, because that was not what this is about, but I can talk about it now that I have.
Because you were talking about
I talked about everything else,
the stigmatisms that she felt.
Well, I mean, there's going to be those anyway, because
I don't think
everything.
anybody else would understand why, because they don't understand anything about her condition.
Well, no, they do. She shared it. They just have to listen. She did a whole podcast on it, but we will talk about it again. What she has is PGAD. That means perpetual genital arousal disorder, but we don't call it that. It's not a disorder. It's a power. It's a link. Good. I love you, Deborah. It's not a disorder. I mean, like there is some of the chemicals will cause a catastrophic feeling. Some of the symptoms, because it's for Angie, she describes it as a complete overstimulation, but that the genital arousal perpetually is the main symptom, but that it's an overarching overstimulation, mind, body, spirit, everything just seems to be overstimulated. And one of the resultant is the most prevalent part, which is overstimulation of her genitals. And it causes her body to orgasm on its own. She could be eating. There are different triggers. Just enjoying life will be a trigger. Like, and there are more places that you can orgasm from than um than just the obvious place. Uh, that was something Angie learned. Not from a book. She did later find out what it was, but there are places that you can because she just ran across it because that happens in her life. She has a question and she's sort of curious about it, but not stressed. And eventually, it'll come up and she'll find out. Like there's 3 different places that you can orgasm from. There's the obvious place where the genitals, and then there's the heart chakra, and then there's the head chakra. And now sometimes she experiences just depending on how excited she is, because excitement about life, being just happy and like ready to run to the unknown, that whole excitement for what's coming next. Yeah, that's a big one for her. So excitement about basically anything in her body likes, it'll open up. And it's because she opened her empathy all the way she could, as far as she could. She told, it's like, I want no limits on it. Just so I'm near it, I want no limits on it. I want
Empathy.
on my empathy. Yeah. She said, I want you to open it as wide as possible. Now, that could have been a few months because my sister's always had a little bit of a harder time with time. She collapsed it a lot. Like, because she's a people watcher, she would zone into just watching people and learning from just watching people. So she could be sitting there for 30 minutes, an hour, and not even realize that, not even realize that she had, excuse me, that she had passed an hour or whatever. She does that a lot now too, so she'll have to stay on her P's and Q's and not get too distracted if it's closer to work time.